In this crazy world, it's so hard to unwind. So I'm taking time just for me. Gonna find my peace, let my soul be free. In the quiet moments, that's where I'll find a little room to breathe and leave it all behind. Give me room to breathe, I need some time to heal my heart, to clear my mind. Gonna love myself, yeah, I believe in the power of me. Just give me room to breathe.
Great new day to all my self-care friends and family. Welcome back to another Room to Breathe podcast. I am your host, Life Coach 614, and I am so happy that you've made space to be here with us today. Now, before we dive in, I need for everyone to do me a quick favor. If you're feeling the vibe, go ahead and show some love. Tap the screen, like, comment, but most importantly, I need everyone to share this out with someone who could use a little healing energy today. And remember, if this is your first time here or you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that follow button. Subscribe to our channel so that way you're always tapped in when a new episode drops. I also want to personally invite you to check out our digital home at theselfcareclub.org, where you will find everything you need from motivational merch to a ton of free resources that are designed to help you nourish your growth and remind you that you are supported every step of the way. Just know that you don't have to do this alone. We are healing in community, growing one breath, one moment, one day at a time. So today, I encourage you to give yourself permission to make space for peace, for growth, but most importantly, for you. And remember, if anything in today's episode hits home, be sure to drop those green hearts in the chat. That is our community's way of saying, I am healing, I am growing, and I am showing up for me. Now, let's get ready to breathe, reflect, and grow together. Now, today's conversation, this is, I guess, going to be for those who are familiar with kind of pushing through exhaustion, showing up and just getting things done, but deep down, knowing that something just doesn't feel right anymore. We're talking about burnout, but not just the kind that comes from doing too much. We're talking about the kind of burnout that comes from being out of alignment with who you truly are. And joining me today is someone who knows all about that experience firsthand. Shekinah Holliday is a podcast host. She's an event MC and an emerging life coach who is passionate about helping people reconnect with their God-given design and align with purpose, passion, and the work that they're called to do. Family, help me welcome Shekinah Holliday into the Room to Breathe. Hey, girl. Hey. Hey.
Hey, family. What's up, y'all?
Welcome in. And listen, before we jump into any conversation or story, I always like to do a check-in with the soul. So I want to ask you, how's your spirit doing today?
Man, my spirit is a little all over the place today. But I think ultimately the best thing I can use, I'm trying to imagine the feelings wheel in my head. Another friend of mine is good with the spirit check-in. I would say it is grateful. It's grateful and it is ready. You know, I have a lot of projects I'm working on that I'm sure we're going to talk about. There's stuff in my personal relationships that I have to address and attend to. But I think I'm grateful because I think I am plugging into the right spaces and community to find those resources. And I'm ready to do the work because I'm starting to feel supported by those spaces in community and that intentionality and the work. And so there's this like cycle, you know, the more work I do, the more ready I become, the more work I do. So, so that's how I'm feeling today. How about you? Sorry, you know, the podcast hosted me.
Listen, I was going to say, go ahead, throw it back. I'm ready for you. Now, it's funny that you say that because honestly, I feel the same way. You know, being a content creator, coach, you know, all the things that we do, right? it's our passion. So we're constantly pouring into other people's cups. But when you start to align, like when you start to get those right circles, like you said, you also get your cup filled back up.
Exactly.
And so it's one of those things where it's like we have the job that we don't have to do. We have the job that we get to do. I get to wake up and serve others. So I'm happy,
Thank you, girl. Me too.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't always like this. Okay.
Girl, you better tell them. Like, it has been a struggle, but I now see why, for me personally, I now see why I had to go through all the things that I went through to get here today. So I don't think I would trade it.
Yeah. I mean, you pray that people get to that point, right? And I guess that's part of the work that we do as coaches is to kind of help people see that, right? Why are these events happening? What are these events trying to teach me about myself, about my creator, about where I'm supposed to be, where I'm not supposed to be? Hopefully we can draw parallels and set them up with, the right tools and, again, community and things of that nature to get to that point where you can say, oh, I get why I went through that. And some stuff I believe we're never really gonna ever get to that point. Some stuff is just like, I don't know why. Can we cuss on here?
Yeah, girl, say what you gotta say, because some days are truly like, what the hell, right?
Okay, why did it have to be me, Lord Jesus? Like,
right,
all these other soldiers out here, and it had to be me. Like, damn. Okay, right. But we move on. We live and we learn. So
exactly,
we find room to breathe.
Amen. Listen, I think that's a perfect start to the beginning, right?
Yeah.
And so when obviously we know every story starts somewhere. And I know from previous conversation with you, 2021 was kind of like the beginning of, that next chapter for you. What was happening in your life when you experienced, that panic attack maybe at work?
Yeah, definitely big panic attack. It was, I don't know, I guess you could call us on the end part of COVID. So everything in the world really was different. And particularly how and what was required of me at work. I worked in retail and I was a branch manager, and the company, had always run on lean operations, meaning there was always only ever really 2 or 3 or 4 or just enough people in the office to get the task done. And being equipped, being smart, being a problem solver, being eager and young and paid pretty well at the time, I was up for it, right? I was up for the overextending of myself, the not having the right tools and still making it work, not fully feeling supported and yet calling it good. And so, fast forward, Lord Jesus, 6-7 years, and this is 2021, there were too many things where I felt unequipped. I started to doubt myself. I started to doubt my abilities to problem solve, to be a leader, to execute, to hit my numbers. And that had never ever been a problem for me. I'm a high achiever, I and that's not in a braggadocious way. I'm not like 4.0 number one magna cum, but like I can add, I can subtract, I can multiply. Your girl knows some things, right? So like not being able to hit my marks was like messing with me, right? And so one day I'm at work and it just all kind of came to a head. I was responsible for coordinating some logistics, and I'm trying to be vague because you never know if this company might want to pay me in retribution and a sponsorship or something one of these days, okay?
Yeah.
But I was responsible for like coordinating all these logistics. I didn't have the people I needed to make it happen. I didn't have the support from my manager that I needed to make it happen. And it's like my brain just like stopped working. Like, and fast forward, I have ADHD. So now rewind. For someone who has ADHD, that's like, whoa, like it literally was like everything came to a screeching halt, and I'm trying to make decisions and I'm trying to think about stuff and I just couldn't, and I broke down, breathing heavy, and so fortunately in the moment there were some people there who were compassionate and, you know, kind of understood, and I breathed through it, you know, went back to work, you know, an hour or so later.
I mean, in you know that moment right there, from what I'm understanding from this, it wasn't just a breakdown. You know what I mean? Like that was just a shift for you. And I think that a lot of times we don't recognize in the moment that what feels like the moment where everything is falling apart is actually life trying to get our attention.
Yeah.
And so, hindsight, when you look back at that now, what are some signs of burnout or misalignment that you may have ignored or pushed through before that moment?
I didn't allow myself to explore other options. I was lying to myself, basically. I was saying I was making it good enough. I was accepting what, for whatever reason, I don't know. I felt I had to be so loyal to this company. I felt like I couldn't pursue other careers or other things. What was I gonna do? I was making such a nice salary and there's so many perks here. I'm never gonna find that anywhere else, and I was caught up in a system, and I didn't again, just allow myself to explore and to wonder and to dream and to go for my actual dream instead of leaning into the system that I was in. Right. And I don't know if you can see that in the moment. So when you're like signs, I don't know that, because in my experience, I wasn't enjoying going to work. Right. I was already kind of like, I'm thinking about doing some other stuff, but for it to manifest itself the way that it did, I don't think I saw any signs. I don't think I noticed any. I think I was just going along like I have been doing for, like I said, 6-7 years at that point. It was normal, but my body, my brain, my soul was like, enough. So
yeah, it's almost like what I always say, that sometimes we move like, I don't know if you ever got into The Walking Dead. It was my show, but girl, well, basically there are these Walking Dead characters that just move from muscle memory. They just walk, girl. Okay. Like they just keep walking.
That's exactly it.
Yeah. And it's just like, it's what we know to do. So we get up and we push through, and, being a Black woman, that's what we do. We get up and we persevere. We just push through. And, I think if we're being honest, most of us have felt, some little nudge or something, but we're conditioned to keep going. The society that we live in normalizes exhaustion. We normalize stress. We tell ourselves we'll rest later, right? They'll be like, oh, I'll sleep when I'm dead. And you'd be like, girl, you're gonna die if you don't sleep. Exactly.
Yes. Yes.
And sometimes our body just says, you know what, I've had enough. We're stopping right now. Right.
Isn't that God good? Because because you're right. If you continue to just listen to the people around us, we would never stop. We would never realize, we would never take a moment to take heed, to take stock. Right. And like, fortunately and unfortunately, it manifests in our bodies as these wake-up calls, as these opportunities, like you said, to shift. Because listening to the people we're listening to, consuming the content we're consuming, being the Walking Dead, we are not going to change, but God gonna make sure his will get done. You know what I mean? If he wants you about that thing, your brain's gonna stop, honey, and you're gonna freak out. So either be in tune with yourself and with your resources and with spirit and your community, so you can really like feel, what is right for you. And my other problem, I was ignorant and naive to opportunity, to what I could do. Right. I started the podcast because I wanted just, a audio diary. I just wanted to get my feelings out. I was in South Florida. It's very white down there. I'm very Black. Okay. All the time. So finding spaces and places and people that relate was few and far between. So, starting my podcast, it was just something to do, right? It's not until fast forward a few years later that I really was like, no, this could be an opportunity for me. This could be something where I can use to build my platform, create my community, book myself, find my own opportunities, lean into the gifts and things that I've come to learn, about myself.
Yeah. And so with this, new journey, but like almost like a new self-discovery journey for you with the podcast and moving forward now, what did that process look like for you? Shifting from this hustle all the time to let me slow down and make room to breathe, right? Let me record this so I can hear myself later. What did that look like for you?
So it's funny you say record it so I can hear myself later. I am actually terrible at listening to my podcast.
Me too, girl.
I actually don't do that, if I'm being honest. But it took years. Like we said, this was 2021, right? So fast forward, I eventually quit my job. I don't know that as soon as I quit, my mindset, my mentality didn't really change. It was still hustle, and I gotta figure out what's gonna pay me the most, and this lifestyle and all the things and the motivations aren't from alignment and design. They're from desire in a way, which nothing is wrong with that, but it's fickle, right? I don't want the same things I wanted at 25. I don't desire the same things that I desired at 21, and I'm not going to desire the same things that I desire at 40 and 50. But when I lean into alignment, when I lean into my design, it's sustainable, right? I'm always going to be Black woman first. I'm always going to be no nonsense. I'm always going to be, let's be authentic. I'm always going to be, let's create a space for people to feel comfortable. So after I left that job, it took time for me to do that. A series of failures. In fact, right, I tried to be a financial advisor for some time, and I was poor at that. I did just enough, so they didn't kick me out the place. I didn't have the right network. Again, not operating from a place of true intention. I'm trying to hustle. I'm trying to find $1. I'm trying to find the best client instead of genuinely building relationships with people. Yeah. So then, I just started journaling, honestly. Something I really didn't love to do, but it was a gratitude journal. Everything I wrote in there was thank you, God, for something I didn't have in the time. So thank you for prosperity. Thank you for abundance. Thank you for a positive attitude. Thank you for friends who love me. Thank you for community, where I can just show up and be myself. Thank you for opportunities that are aligned with my gifts and who I naturally am. Things that I don't have to change, like things that I just absolutely was not experiencing. I just wrote in the journal because I wanted to, I don't know, trick my mind, trick my spirit. I don't know what I was trying to do. So I started journaling. And then slowly but surely, I was like, okay, I got a job in marketing, digital marketing. I got fired from that. We can talk about that another time or not. But then from that moment, I said, okay, what is it that I truly want to do? Right? When I close my eyes and I imagine my life and I see myself, what am I doing? And I'm on a mic, I'm talking to somebody, talking to people. So it just kind of started there, and just taking my imagination and truly being honest with myself and not trying to, I'm a people pleaser, a recovering people pleaser. And so not trying to make my next move palatable for other people, right? I have a big dream. I want to be a host. I want to be an MC. I want to be the host of the Cupcake Wars on Netflix. And that path is not straight. That path is not obvious. I don't know anybody who's walked that path personally, so I can't tell you how I'm gonna get there. I can't. But I can tell you that's what I see in my mind. And where I can start is doing this podcast that absolutely nobody's paying me to do. But hey, it's gonna give me a platform.
Yeah.
So that's, my kind of like art to getting to where I'm like, I'm taking my career as a public speaker seriously. Let me get my life coaching certification so that when I'm engaging in these rooms, when I'm having these audiences, I'm not frivolous. I'm responsible. I'm using some sort of tools, framework, whatever, to be
Right.
responsible and caring with my platform. So
Yeah. And thank you for saying that, because I feel like the whole journey to finding yourself just really sounds simple when people say it, but in reality, it takes honesty, it takes stillness, and sometimes it takes unlearning everything you thought you were supposed to be. It's kind of like, let me just scrap that, throw that in the trash. Now you got all these little paper balls by the trash can because you missed the shot, and it's like, people don't really understand that it does take work to find yourself, especially because you're constantly evolving.
yes.
And so when you think, oh, this is what I want to do, all of a sudden you evolve and you're like, well, do I want to do that? Or I don't even like that, or it's pointless now. You know what I mean? And so I think that people need to really understand and to be flexible when it comes to finding yourself, because seasons change, people change, our reason behind things change too. And that's all, I think, a piece to understanding alignment.
Yeah.
I'm curious for you, what does alignment actually mean to you now? And how do you know when you're in it versus out of it?
Man, that's a loaded question, girl. That's a real
I try.
It's a real life coach question, isn't it?
I got to sneak a few of them in there.
Well, so last summer I created for myself 10 commandments.
Okay.
And these are my 10 commandments for how I will show up in spaces and relationships and with myself primarily. Anything that compromises those commandments is something that does not align for me. So 1, I will live Christocentrically. God is the center of everything in my life, right? And that is not to be on a high horse. That is not because I know everything. That is not because I've read the Bible cover to cover. But it is because I'm always going to lean that way, okay? That's just the way I'm going. Number 2, I will prioritize physical activity. 3, I will honor my emotions and communicate my needs. So any place or space or person where I feel like I cannot do that, it doesn't align for me, right? Because that's just how I have to show up, because I've done the latter. I've not communicated, and it doesn't serve me well. It causes me to be pent up and have, reaction to things that's not good for me. I will lead with love and seek good first. We can be overthinkers and assume, and that also causes me to reframe as much as I can. I'm big on reframing. Next, I'll be a good financial steward. I'll be kind to myself. I will honor my routines and my boundaries. So work in traditional sense typically don't align with my routines and my boundaries. Okay, your girl's not trying to wake up at 6 a.m. That's just not my ministry. All right. I like to get my day started, like in terms of like work, around 12, 1 o'clock. I do a nice little morning routine, eat my breakfast, listen to my things, journal, get my life started. But before I'm so that's not, if it don't align with that, I cannot do it. I cannot do it. The last few, I will live in joy and with intention to make life special. I will hold space for change and forgiveness, which, to your point of, we're going through different seasons. I've had to learn to allow that for myself. I'm big. This is the plan. That's how my life was kind of mapped out. And this is what we're going to do next. And this is where we're going next. So I've had to leave space for things to change. Forgive myself for things I may have thought things I may have once been steadfast to, loyal to, or committed, and and allow that to be a part of my life. And then the last one is I will show up for myself, past, present, and future. So whatever that looks like, however that is, good, bad, or ugly, I'm showing up for all three of my girls, and some more than others, but that is my long answer to your question.
No, and it's so funny that you say that because I have my own commandments.
Yeah. Oh,
cool. So I'm
cool.
like, okay, she said that it was a life coaching, question. And I'm like, she gave the perfect life coach answer. Because I literally, like, I tell people all the time, you have to create your own commandments.
Yeah.
You have to create the rules that you live by. And, there's nothing wrong with even going back and editing those, because
Correct.
sometimes you get used to it. Cool, I've mastered these 10. And now who am I in this season? You know what I mean? But there's always something that I think that still carries over with that alignment. Like for some people, it's our faith, right? Mm-hmm. Whatever I do, whatever I list, God is going to be a part of it. Because I feel like if God can't be a part of it, then it is not meant for my success.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And like you said, we didn't live that life before. 10 out of 10 don't recommend.
Baby.
Like, just
choose your hard.
Right. Thumbs down.
Yeah. No thanks.
Yeah. And I think that all of that is important because, alignment isn't always about things being easy. Correct. You know what I mean? It's about things being true. Yeah. And that's the part that we don't always want to get into. Like, people don't like to be vulnerable. People don't like to always tell the truth. They like to look a certain way. You know what I mean? But yes. I mean, I think that sometimes it just stretches you. But even in those periods, I know for me, when I feel stretched, it still feels right in my spirit. So it's like, even when it's like, I really don't want to be doing this, I'm like, God, I did not ask to be put on the front line, but I'm still going to fight. Like, correct. But could you just tell me when my spot in the kitchen opens up? Because, like,
correct.
I want to make a few meals.
I'm okay.
A few hundred.
Listen, just come on over to my house after the revolution. Okay. I don't have to be fired out there on the street.
You said it has to be televised. You could just tell me about it when you get done.
I'm a good listener.
Absolutely. They need podcasters to tell the story.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. I'll broadcast it.
Yeah. 1000%. Come on over. Let's talk, sis.
Exactly. Perfect podcast title, right?
Yeah.
So, was there a version of yourself that you had to release in order to step into who you are now?
Oh man, so many versions. So many versions. So I went through a life coaching program called Discover Your Destiny, with a woman who has now become one of my best friends, my sister. Her name is Kimberly Jackson. And through this program, that's exactly what we do, It is designed to help you to see how you were designed and how do you want to use that design to make the impact on the world that you want to make. And in order to do that, right, there's some radical acceptance that has to happen. I was again, I was a people pleaser in so many ways that I didn't realize. Like, even when it came to, because I'm confident, right? I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna say what I want to say. So I thought, right? I'm gonna have something to say. But if what I am saying is actually how I feel and what I mean, I'm just feeling confident in being in that season, right? And there's a difference. And again, even like with my career and really telling people what I want, I've always wanted to like entertain and be on the stage and be kind of in front of people. I didn't maybe have the exact words, but I would never express that. In relationships, letting stuff slide that is wrong, that is not right for you. So letting go of like of thinking that what I need is not important, letting go of thinking that what because I'm an emotional person. So all my life I've been told, oh, you're too emotional, you're being irrational, call you crying, oh, she just crying again. So, I've constantly downplayed my feelings, constantly suppressed that those feelings don't matter. Well, through Discover Your Destiny, come to find out that those feelings and all of that is in fact the core of who I am, and tuning into that is actually going to result me in the best decision making. Tuning into how I feel, tuning into what's aligning, tuning into my emotions is actually going to allow me to be the most clear headed and the most efficient and show up the best, as opposed to believing before that was something that I needed to squelch and not lean into.
Yeah. And what you said, I feel like is something that people don't talk about enough. People don't want to admit that growth comes with grief, because at a certain point you have to mourn parts of you. Old Helen is gone, but I kind of liked her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like I kind of liked her, and I also can understand that she got me through some things in life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of hard to let that version go. Or even when you step outside of it and you realize how much shit you tolerated.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you're like, hold on, I let them do that to me.
Yeah.
I know I didn't deserve it. I'm not letting them off the hook. They were wrong, but like, I let that keep happening to me. Yes. You know what I mean? And so, at that point, you're not just becoming this new version of you, right? You're also letting go of that old version of you.
Right.
And so, there's a grief that comes with that. And I think a lot of people don't talk about that enough. They talk about, oh, I'm not her anymore. Now I'm this person, started from the bottom. Now we here. But I'm like, nah, baby, it's some levels to get to where you at right now. Yeah. That's the part I want to talk about. That's the messy middle that I need to know about, because that's where I'm at,
Yes. And that is to the point of my last commandment. I will show up for myself past, present, and future, because the past, she still needs some things. she's still right here telling me to act and engage and respond and believe and to think all kinds of ways, right? And I actively have to say, hey, go sit down somewhere, look girl.
Right.
Future me needs present, like, even if we use like working out, I don't feel like it, I don't want to, it's not gonna make a difference. That's old habits. Present me, I'm tired, I don't want to go. Future me is like, hey, but we got a bikini we want to put on. Okay. Yeah. We got a bathing suit. We got kids we want to have, we got places we want to go. So we need that heart in good condition, right? We need that body well. So Absolutely. It's just like, how do all three of those people find a happy medium? Okay, we're doing polite. Yeah. Like, okay, whatever. Like,
exactly.
We gotta find something. But yes, learning to grieve that old me, the person that, even the future version of you that you thought you might be, and now with these new hold on, I can't actually do that. That actually doesn't align with, right? And now we have to redream. And like I've always said, I've never really imagined this part of my life as a child. My life, my schooling, all the things were very much planned out. You're graduating by this time, you're going here, you're doing that. And I've always imagined like being 62 and retired on my porch drinking lemonade. I've never knew what the middle ground was right. Going to be, the messy middle, as you have explained it. And so that's what's happening now, right? All the tilling up of the soil and all the old things and beliefs and relationships, and then figuring out, okay, are you getting replanted or are we throwing you out?
Exactly. And through all of this, what I love, while you're still healing, you're doing the work on you. Now you're stepping into life coaching. Yeah. What made you decide to turn your personal journey into something that helps others?
That's the least I can do, I think.
Yeah.
I think we go through things and there's a lot of shame, attached to events in life, interruptions in life, right? There's a lot of shame attached to not being where we want to be, to not having what we want to have. And I'm always trying to create a space where we can talk about it. Like my podcast is called Let's Talk Sis, but it is because I believe that conversations are so powerful and transformational. Like we think a lot of times that we have to go and climb Mount Rushmore and sail the seven seas and approach every single person and do these big grand gestures. And sometimes you do, but sometimes just in a simple conversation with somebody who understands you, who relates to you, who can give you tools, who can help you see something from a different perspective is life changing, right? And it could be the simplest of things. Everything isn't always grand. And so, again, I see myself speaking. I see myself doing just that for people. And I want to do it well. I want to steward my gifts well. Having a podcast for the first 3-4 years, I didn't really plan much out, right? I just got on this thing and hit record because I was taking advantage of my gift, right? Of being able to speak. And now it's like, no, girl, if people are listening to you, I want you to have something to say, right? And I want you to be able to say your truth in a way that honors the community that you're building, right? That is able to give a testimony in a way that honors God, that really puts Him at the center, and ain't preachy, right? I'm not trying to preach to nobody. I think Christianity gets a really bad rap, and rightfully so in a lot of cases. It's a lot of crazy stuff going on, okay? But I believe in Jesus Christ, okay? I do. So
Absolutely.
how can we have this conversation? I can come to you in grace and truth. How can I also then give you tools at the end of this conversation so that you can go forth and maintain yourself, so you can grow and be great yourself, right? And not dependent on, and be able to identify what is true, right? And what actually, like you said, alignment is truth,
Right.
for you, and not because of what somebody else said or what you think or heard or but what is right for you. So I want to equip myself with all the tools, the credentials, the backing, to be able to do that and be respected in my work and in my community, in that regard.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
Literally, that's my story.
Mhm.
There was a point where things got dark, and my faith was all I had, and I was like, listen, God, like, okay, I don't know what's happening here, but if you could just point me in the direction of the light, or at least the light switch, so I can turn it back on myself, I will then be the light. Because they're always saying, be the good that you want to see in the world.
Yeah, for sure.
And I've always believed that. Like deep down in my heart, I've always believed that. I may not have carried myself like that, little crash out girl over here, but
never little crash out.
Yeah, listen. I'd be like, slow down, Shantae. You're doing too much. But no, but I've always believed that you have to be the good that you want to see in the world.
Yeah, for sure.
And so for me, that was, why I decided life coaching, why I picked up the mic to do the podcast. I couldn't find safe spaces that spoke to me,
right,
with people that look like me.
Yep.
With stories and situations that pertain to me and my family and my community, and I'm like, Oprah can't be the only one. Like,
it's not.
Oprah and Ayanna, they doing it, but they can't be the only ones.
Yeah. I 1000%, I get it. I get it.
Yeah. And I think that for all of us who are in this, in this role, I think that there's a moment where healing stops being about you, like just about you, and it becomes something that you feel called to share. Like, I didn't go through all of that for nothing. I
For
didn't
me to sit on
endure
my
or
hands.
exactly and survive all of that to keep it to myself. I
Yeah,
think that it's like, how dare you? How dare you
exactly.
survive that and not tell somebody else who, could be going through that,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly that. Exactly that. And that again, like I was just the fact of hearing somebody on a podcast, share their experience or their story or how they get out of certain things, how they navigate. It's just it's the least I can do. It is my duty, it's my due diligence, and it is an honor. I don't take it lightly when people listen to my episodes and comment on my videos and all the things. Like, I appreciate all of my subscribers and even you in this opportunity. I'm like, okay, I can go talk to somebody.
Right. You said I get to be on the other side of the mic now.
Yeah, like, it's so cool. Oh my god, what am I gonna say? I don't have anything to say. No.
Like,
But it is cool, when you feel heard and when you feel seen and when you feel valued. And that's
yeah.
everything we're about at the Let's Talk Sis podcast, because again, for so long, so much of what I was saying, so much of how I was feeling was not valued. It was not respected. It was not taken as serious or of concern. And for myself, that's another thing. Back to, who did I have to let go? Like, I had to start taking my own stuff serious. I had to start taking my own shit. Like, I'm coming on this podcast every week. I'm going to be consistent and show up for my dreams. I'm going to reach out to the people. I'm going to connect with the communities. I'm going to make the spaces. I'm going to do the things because I got to take myself serious, even if nobody else does. And I had to let go of the fact that thinking people are going to cheer you on just because they know you. People are going to show up for you just because they have this title or position in your life, and they don't owe you anything.
No.
They too are just the man, the clay pot, so.
Right. Yeah. And most of the time, they're not even your biggest supporters,
And
and that's so sad to say that, our friends and our family aren't always the biggest supporters. It's usually the stranger that you meet in another country. That's the biggest person rooting for you. I like my following in South Africa is lit. Like,
hey, South
we're
Africa.
Healing. Like, we're healing all over the world,
Yeah, that's what's up.
But again, that's that obedience, the willingness to share your story. And you mentioned as far as loving your subscribers, it is something so phenomenal about when you get that email or that comment that says thank you. Like, the first time somebody else told me that they finally felt seen and heard, I was just like, oh my God, like my head swole up so big because I'm like, that's all I ever wanted was to be seen and heard and valued. And you said those three things a moment ago, because I think that that's just our basic human desire is to be seen and heard and valued. Even in a season, I'm not saying that they're going to show up and do it every day, but if I get to pull up and I feel like you saw me, it's that, hey girl, hey.
It'll carry you. It's a little wave until the next time. And
Exactly. It's kind of like our unspoken nod, when you see another Black person. And then it's like, if you do that and they don't respond, you like, hold on, she ain't see me? Like, sis, hey girl, hey. But it's like, again, it sounds so simple. Yeah. But it ultimately is what we all want.
Yes, 1000%. And it takes courage a lot of times to admit that for some people, right? Especially if they feel they're in relation with other people and they should already have it. But that is the power and the beauty of the internet and beauty of spaces like what you're creating, like what we're creating down to the Let's Talk Sis universe and all of that, is that even if within your immediate circle you don't feel like you have those needs being met of being seen, being heard, being valued, you can find it, find it around here. So
yeah, absolutely. Like, we got you. Don't even worry. Just pull up.
Period.
We got you.
Period.
So I'm curious.
Yes.
How do you balance building your brand while still doing your own healing work?
Man, I just tell my business, I don't, I don't know that the balance is really the word. I do definitely try not to talk about things that I haven't come to the other side of in terms of giving all the details. Once I've come to the other side, I don't care. I'll give you everything. But I try to talk about what I'm kind of working through in real time. I'm not good at faking. I'm not good at hiding things. If you don't rob a bank with me. I'm just not the girl.
Say, because I'm telling it all.
Yeah, I'm not trying to go to jail. I don't want to be caught up with no system. So it's just this is what it is 100%. And honestly, that has cost me some relationships, but I had to get to the point where my authenticity was most important. I think when we talk about balancing the brand and your healing work, what ways can you show up and be the most authentic, right? And for some of us, it is waiting years until we tell our truth, and that's okay, but it is still being honest, still being respectful, keeping my community in mind and kind of what I promise. And I think sometimes we get scared to tell our business and to be vulnerable on the internet. But I think if we remember that the majority of the other people on the other side of the line are people just like us, right? People who are yearning for someone to tell the truth and yearning for someone to be going through what they have gone through and can relate to them. I think it's just easier. Like let's just get it out. Help me, help you, help me, help you. And if you got the answer so much, sis, why you ain't put me on?
Right.
I really try to live unashamed, because it's just too much feeling shame and guilt for what somebody else might think, about my life that I'm struggling in. You ain't called, you ain't sent a text, a postcard, a flower, you ain't filled my fridge, not nan time. Okay. I've been out here a long time putting it together. So I'll be damned if the decision I decide to make my setup better, if I let your opinion shame me.
Yeah.
And this is easier said than done, but a lot of it is just a decision. I'm just deciding that that's not going to bother me, not because it may not be like, damn, when I read the comment, or damn, I wish we could have a relationship. But you know what? My authenticity is more important. Okay. And that is okay, right? I know I'm telling myself I will be okay if we get cut off because I'm being authentic. I will be okay if you got something negative to say because my authenticity will carry me through, right? Aligning myself with what's true and what matters, what's important, is going to carry me over this moment of feeling whatever because I'm focusing on my brand and my healing and going through what I got to go through. Because as a podcaster, I say a lot of stuff, right? I'm talking about the relationships. I'm talking about the people who didn't show up. I'm talking about the missteps, and I'm talking about how we ain't cool no more. And you might have a problem with that, but I'm being authentic. That's what happened, and I'm gonna be okay. So, to your question, the balance, is a lot of times we just gotta decide, hey, because everybody can't go.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. And I had to tell myself that when God gave me purpose, he didn't run it through the group chat.
Ooh.
So I don't need everybody to understand it. You know what I mean? There's no decision board on what happens next. And so when I really started looking at it that way, and it took a friend to say that to me, because I kept questioning what next. And I kept questioning, people falling off and people changing up. And she said it very matter-of-factly, like, girl, when God gave you that vision, did it come through the group chat? And I'm laughing like, girl, you silly. Like, no, there is no group chat. She said, exactly. So what you worried for? And I stopped like, girl, where were you 30 days ago when I was crying? Okay. Like,
yeah.
She's like, well, you didn't come to me then. I'm like, fine. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shout out to, once again, Kimberlyn Jackson. She has this concept called brain people, right? And she's really big on brain research and how our brain works and processes. And so to help visualize, she has these people, and part of the Discover Your Destiny program is to go into your brain and find your people. Who are they? How they work? How do they show up? And all this stuff. And so recently I have met a new brain person, and her name is Sage.
Period.
Okay. She lives in my upper brain. She only can be accessed in certain moods, and she's been here for years and years and been here before, and she only speaks in statements, which another one of my brain people thinks is weird, but okay, girl. And so I just had one of my girls' night in events, and I was reading some feedback and kind of ruminating over some things people said, and I was like, well, let me ask Sage, what Sage thinks we got to do, And she goes, there's nothing you need to do. You simply must be.
Now you got your own personal Yoda.
Now listen, okay. Now Louise, she is my other brain person. She runs the day to day. Okay, Louise don't play. Louise got that fax and said, "Now, girl, what the hell is this? What does this mean?" Right?
She said, "I don't see this on the list. What are we doing?
What is the being?"
Yeah.
So, to your point of worrying about other people and checking in, and and I was, because I'm like, well, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? What do I need to do next to make it better or change? Just be you, baby. Just be you. Just show up to the spot and be who God has called you to be. And I'm still a little woo woo, right? That was just this morning, so I'm still working that out and processing that down, Sage. But hopefully that helps somebody.
No, and it makes perfect sense, because now you got me thinking maybe I need to go back and name these folks, because it's a whole party going on over here sometimes. But I literally have had those moments where I'm like, just show up, like just push the button. I sit here and I'm like, what am I going to talk about? And girl, I do my show 5 days a week. So I really be over here like, God, what we talk about today? And I remember one day, that download was not coming and it was time to go. And I was like, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? Right. And I was like, just push the button. Okay, fine. Boom. I pushed the button. Now, all these people are here. It is like double the number of usual. I'm like, I don't even want to be here. So the whole conversation was about how I didn't want to be here, that I felt like I didn't get my download and all these things. Right. And so I'm just talking and talking and talking. Girl, the way that lesson came back to me was crazy, because I was like, oh, God just told me to be obedient and to do what I needed to do. And people were like, thank you for the vulnerability. Thank you for just willingly taking up space. And I'm like, like, I see what you did there, God.
Crazy.
You could have told me, but I wouldn't have appreciated it then, Yeah. So it's something amazing that comes from those downloads, if you're willing to sit in silence long enough and to be honest, to say, I didn't get it. Because we don't always understand those downloads. We'd be like, okay, wait, God, you want me to do what now? Like,
and it's interesting you say sit in silence, because again, I have ADHD. So what? I don't know how to do that. That's crazy. But to get
talk to Sage. Look, I'm like, talk to Sage.
Look, to get to Sage, I have realized that I do have to just allow my thoughts to pass. I just have to, like, and listen. And that was a revelation that I have had recently. Like, hey, you can come empty. You don't have to come with the word, with the script, with the prayer, with the bullet points and the notes of what you want to talk to God about. You don't have to do that every time, right? You can just come and sit at his feet.
Yeah. And my favorite thing to do when I'm feeling anxious like that, I love brain dumping in my journal. And I promise you, if you were to read some of my brain dump journals, you would probably think I need to be committed, because it's a whole lot of people that come out in them notes, and it'll just be like randomness, and I write until I have nothing else to say. And sometimes at the end I'm like, in Jesus' name, amen. Like, and I don't know what it is, but like, God, you
thank you.
You said write it down and make it plain. Now I hope you understand
it don't get no more plain than this.
Yeah, listen.
Blue cheese, big fish, and the west side of the highway makes no sense.
Right. Amen. Now send it back in order tomorrow and make it make sense.
And will.
And in the morning, I'm like, oh.
Now you got a whole business idea. You got to start.
Okay. I'm supposed to start a catering business on the side. Okay.
On the west side.
Right.
Got it.
I get it. He gave me the location and everything. Girl.
Yes.
I love it. So let's talk about your podcast. Let's talk, sis. What inspired you to create that space?
Man, I honestly, like I said, it really was just, hey, I like to talk on a mic. And now in hindsight, it's Holy Spirit, right? Directing me. But in the moment, it was, I'm not feeling like I have outlets. I don't have creative spaces. I don't have places I can go to find myself. It was pandemic-esque because this was around this 2020 is when I started my podcast. So yeah, it was right in the thick of it. And podcasting was big, everybody was home talking, so I just knew I was gonna make $1 million then,
right?
And I couldn't afford therapy, so I said, well, let me get on the mic. Terrible idea, guys. Okay, the mic is not therapy, but I digress. So honestly, that's really what it was. People were like, you're good at it, you're good at hosting conversations. I was having fun. I enjoy it. And that's really how it's a passion project for me. I have yet to become monetized. I have yet to find my sponsors, but I enjoy it. I enjoy planning the episodes, finding things to talk about, setting up the studio. Now the editing can kiss my ass. Okay.
Girl. Right.
But thankfully, shout out to Jada, my cousin. She has been in the lab for me, hooking me up. So that has been a big lift off of me. But and I wanted a safe space for Black women, honestly. Once I kind of got through the minutia of, all right, this is just something I want to do. What is going to be the framework, right? I wanted us to be able to tell our stories, tell our experiences, our journeys, and not be judged. There's sometimes you go on these other platforms and you say, well, I went through this, that, and the third, and it's like, well, why didn't you just pull yourself up out of bootstraps? Hello, right. I'm a Black woman in America. I don't have no boots.
Like, oh, you could do it. You're like,
and I did. Yeah, I don't have no boots, let alone some straps. So what are you talking about? I had to make the shoes I got on my feet right now,
Right.
And so I wanted to be able to have those conversations unapologetically without explaining, a lot of times when I first started, well, why does it just have to be for Black women? Well, because you're not going to get it, Sarah. Okay? You're not. When I talk about my kitchen and my play cousins, and the fact that the spades table got heated, and all the things and microaggressions, and that I'm upset because she asked me, who do I know up in here? I don't want to have to explain that to you. Why that's pissing me off.
Right.
You're not gonna get it. And then if you don't get it and you come in this space, no, I'm not explaining it to you. You're gonna connect the dots if you want to get it. That's on you.
Absolutely.
So I wanted that space to just so we could just be, and I really imagine it eventually taking off into retreats and physical being in touch with each other and equipping people, doing sound baths and their group therapy sessions and life coaching and financial literacy, and all of that is definitely where I see the platform evolving. We're kind of starting that with our virtual Girls Night In experiences. So that was my inspiration. I just want want us to just be together and kiki, take our wig off, our lashes off, and let's get to it, sister. Let's talk.
Right. Like, I don't want to explain what
Yeah,
I'm doing. I just want to do it, you
correct.
know?
Correct.
And, spaces like that matter,
Yeah.
because not everybody feels safe to be real. A lot of times it's weaponized against us, or what I think the part that probably pisses me off the most is when I have to explain my feelings. So I don't even have the opportunity to feel how I feel. I have to explain it, or I have to dumb it down in a way that is palatable
like
for you. Yeah, exactly. And now it's like, damn, not only did I just endure this, but now I got to take on this, and then I got to worry how you feel about it, or how I say it. And I just want to say what the hell I got to say, and not worry about somebody interpreting it or be like, oh, she's just this, oh, she's this, that.
Correct.
Sometimes we just need a place where we don't have to filter or shrink or explain.
And there
ourselves.
There are so few spaces like that for us as Black women, so few. There's always somebody who wants and needs something from us.
Yeah.
And sometimes we do it gladly and willingly, and almost all the time we do it well. But it is a different type of joy and experience when you can go into a space and you can just be.
Yeah.
To Sage's point.
Yeah, exactly. Just be, girl. Just be.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna never forget Sage. Okay.
Yes.
She's my favorite guest of all now. I need to put in parentheses and Sage. I didn't know she was gonna be on the show today, but we welcome her back anytime. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think we all deserve those spaces. And
I agree.
Like, I try to be inclusive of everyone, and not to say that you're excluding, right? I really try to be inclusive because I am talking about self-care and I want everybody to understand. But there are certain episodes, like, I'm a Black woman 365 days a year. So y'all gonna get that perspective. It's on y'all to what you do with it. But I used to be very politically correct. And I used to bite my tongue. And then one day I was like, that shit hurts. I'm not biting my tongue anymore. You take the part that pertains to you, you leave the rest of the shit for everybody else. And that's that. Like, whatever.
Yep.
So
and people have tried to convince me, that, it should be for all women. It should be for all women. And I think those spaces are important, right? I'm not disagreeing that we don't need spaces for all women, but you're not going to tell me also that there shouldn't be spaces that cater to our needs. And that's just all I'm doing, I welcome all people. I ain't gonna say I was gonna say, but I welcome all people down to the Let's Talk Sis. You're all welcome. You're just not the main attraction, honey.
Yeah, exactly. Ain't nobody come to see you, Otis. So I know that in addition to the podcast, you also host events and you create experiences for women. Yes. What does it mean to you to hold spaces like that in real life, not just online?
Yeah, girl, it's special to me because I like the word curation of events because I am extremely intentional about my guest experience. Mm-hmm. I want your experience to be that from start to finish, to be an experience, to be something you're going to remember, to be something that healed a little piece of your heart that day, to give you a belly aching laugh or, whatever, and not in a matter of what I can get out of it. The Girls Night In experiences are free, 100% free, because we need that, right? Everything behind paywall, cool, we got to get our coin, and there's going to be some of those things too. But I want us to just kiki with our girlfriends, and I want that to feel tangible and real, because there are so many women empowerment and girl for girls brunch and all of these things, and more power to you. But I want my experiences to be authentic and genuine and real. And so to me, when I see people show up, it's special. People's time is irreplaceable. They could be
Yeah.
anywhere in the world, right? And so you took the time out to come hang out with me, to come into my space, to come into my world, into my universe. You leave it here with something. Okay.
Yeah.
You live in
Exactly.
here with something. That's really kind of what I believe, and it really matters to me. And so I'm hoping that in the future, we can do collaborations with other people and brands to enhance those experiences, for our guests, and
Yeah.
what they can actually leave with. But for now, we have good girl talk and get it off your chest, and again, from the comfort of your own home. So
Yeah. That's amazing.
yeah.
Again, it's something that is so needed. There's a time for the whole women's empowerment, and there's a time for the sister circle, and then there's just a time for, girl, what the
Yeah.
hell you doing?
Yes.
Because
Man,
exactly,
your hair.
exactly. Like, what is your skin regimen for real?
Yeah.
Because, girl, like, I'm glowing, but not like that. Like, what's happening?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That. Exactly.
Yeah. So if there's a woman, listening right now who feels exactly how you felt in 2021, burnt out, overwhelmed, disconnected, what would you say to her knowing all that you know now?
If you ask God to show up, He will, and be ready to move. That's what I would say. I think that girl was lost, no answers, no confidence, very much in a cycle, and disconnected from her faith, and I probably would shove off my little piece of advice about asking God to show up, but that's where I started with that journal. Start with being grateful for everything you want to see in your life, and the things that you actually do see, your ability to walk and talk and all of that. But if you ask God to show up, He definitely will, and it's gonna come with some instructions. It's gonna come with some requirements of obedience, but He'll be there. Your steps will be ordered. You will be okay.
Absolutely. Listen, I know that right there is going to land for somebody, because there's always someone listening who's right in that space right now, and they just needed that reminder.
Yes.
We just have to invite him in.
Correct.
Because I think a lot of times when we're in those moments, we're doing the most and probably have, backslid a little, or your faith ain't first, and, all those things. So he's just sitting around waiting, like, all right, I'll be here. You had enough yet? Right. You had enough yet? No? Okay. Angel's up there looking down like,
Okay.
Look at her.
Can we go wake her up yet, God?
No. Right. We still throwing rocks at her. We not getting the boulders yet. But yeah, I tell people, you better sit down before you get sat down. For real.
Okay.
Yeah.
You better chill.
Exactly. Check yourself before you wreck yourself, right?
Yeah.
So, sis, before we close, let everyone know how they can connect with you, support your work, and tap into Let's Talk Sis.
Yeah, so we got a lot of things happening down to the Let's Talk Sis universe. Okay, so we have new podcast episodes that come out every single Monday on YouTube at 7 p.m. Those are available. I also am live co-working on TikTok with the Kimberly Jackson universe. So that is the space for us to bring our projects, bring your content, bring your laundry, bring your book, whatever you need. It's 2 hours of concentrated time every week where you can find us. We do a little jam session, a little mindset moment, and some work. I also have brands, business, and boundaries that comes out every Thursday at 5:00, where Kimberlyn and I, we discuss the three, how do we balance our brands, our business, and our boundaries, and honoring ourselves and who we are. And then if you want to have a good old girls night in, you can attend our girls night in events. There are Girls Night In first Fridays. So that is obviously on the first Friday of every month. And then Girls Night In Whimsy events, which are focused on herbal medicine, holistic practices, infusions, and sustainable living. Those are the fourth Fridays of every month. So for more information on all of the things, you can follow me Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Let's talk.sis podcast. Again, let's talk.sis podcast, as it says here. And I'll be posting all the things. And last but not least, follow me on Patreon. You can join for free, and then for $5 a month you get exclusive access to the master classes that I was speaking about, first dibs on spots in the Girls Night In and Whimsy events, and all kind of other behind the scenes things that we got coming up. So
yes. And as usual, family, don't worry. We will pin everything in the description for you, because I don't believe that y'all will have any excuse not to connect with my sis. Okay. So if y'all don't connect, it's because you chose not to, and that's not on us.
Love you, girl.
Yes. I just want to take a moment to say thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for your honesty, your vulnerability, and your willingness to share your journey in a real way. Okay. I believe that what you shared today wasn't just a story. It was honestly a mirror for so many people who are silently navigating burnout and, questioning their path and trying to find their way back to themselves, right? That whole return to center. I honestly think, I don't know, the part that I really love about your story is that you didn't let one moment break you. You let it redirect you. You allowed it to show you, to slow you down long enough to ask those hard questions, to sit with yourself and to reconnect with your God-given design. And to make a decision like that, your life, how do I want to say this? Like, because it's like, I got all these thoughts in my head, but
brain people is working.
I know, right? They're like, no, say this. No, say this. Honestly, I think, to make a decision that your life was going to feel as good on the inside as it looks on the outside. Like I always tell people, I don't look like what I've been through. Okay.
Yes,
I will
girl.
never let you see me look like what I've been through.
Yeah.
And that's an easier said than done, sort of statement right there. But I feel like in talking to you, that's exactly what I felt like. I know my sister been through some stuff, but she don't look like it. You glowing, and it's all over you. Like I said, it's just all over you. You're like, I've done the work.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to talk about it. Exactly. I'm doing the work. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that correction, because it ain't over. It ain't done. Yeah. But I think that that's the part right there that I really want our listeners to hold on to.
Thank you.
That it's not just exhaustion. It's that burnout is also information, right? It's your mind, your body, and your spirit saying something is out of whack and we're not aligned anymore. And instead of ignoring it or numbing it or pushing through like we've been conditioned to do, what if we actually listen? Yeah. So
Amen.
Thank you for showing up and just being a living, breathing testament to what that looks like.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so fun.
Problem. Anytime. I look forward to sitting down because, like I said, this conversation just flowed so easy. So
yeah,
I am definitely here for it.
Yes.
Now, family, listen. Before we close out, I want to make sure that you go ahead and stay connected with Shekinah. Okay. Tap in with her podcast, Let's Talk Sis. I'll be sure to link everything in the description for you, like I said. But her space is one where real conversations are happening and safe spaces are being created for women to show up fully and unapologetically. And remember, if something in today's episode spoke to you, don't keep it to yourself. We are not gatekeepers around here. Share this with someone who needs it. Start the conversation. Because healing doesn't happen in isolation. It happens in community. Now, before I leave, let me leave you all with a little extra love and light. As always, I'm here to spread positivity. And I am here to tell you to keep breathing through the highs, the lows, and every moment in between. I want you to keep choosing peace, even if it feels out of reach. And know that here at the Self-Care Club and within the Room to Breathe family, you will always be seen, always valued, and always supported. So don't be afraid to take up space, speak your truth, and make a little room for you to breathe. I love each and every one of you to life, and I am praying that your day is not just amazing, but aligned, intentional, and yes, on purpose, filled with purpose. This has been another Room to Breathe podcast, and I look forward to connecting with you all again soon.